All rise for the pledge, please.
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
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 Here. Not here. All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the school committee meeting. Just want to let everybody know that we are being videotaped. So if anybody's uncomfortable with that, they can go home and watch it on TV. So there's, what, 2 people over there? So if you guys are uncomfortable, you can head home and watch it on TV. So we don't have any opening remarks today. Today is really just about the superintendent's annual evaluation. And, you know, we're all going to kind of say the same things, but it's tough to evaluate someone that we haven't given goals to. So us, as a committee, we did not give you goals this year because we followed district goals. So it's not going to be the traditional evaluation. We will set you some goals.
Yep.
But you kind of came in with your hands full, so it's, but as Mr. Hatch said, this is not the best format for evaluation. It's public. You know, it's tough to tell people what they think about you in public, you know. I love you, you know that, right? So it's not just personal, you know that, right?
Understood.
All right. So that's it. I guess we'll get underway. I'm going to actually read the chairman's evaluation first, and then we'll have the other members go if you guys don't.
Sure.
You guys have any objections to that? No?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So, Mr. Serino, we had 3 categories here: professional practice goals, student learning goals, and district improvement goals. First was professional practice goals. He gave you significant progress. Student learning goals, he said some progress. And district improvement goals, significant progress. Now, the categories that did not meet, some progress, significant progress, met or exceeded. So it's pretty much right in the middle of the road. Instructional leadership, this one he gave proficient, so it's unsatisfactory, needs improvement, proficient, and exemplary. Management and operations, needs improvement. He didn't elaborate on any of this stuff, so I'm just kind of reading on what he checked off. Family and community engagement, proficient. Professional culture, proficient. Rate overall summative performance, he put you down as proficient. And his comments were, Mike has made gains in, you see this, right? You know it's not easy to read?
Something about
All right, I
beehive.
just want to make sure. Mike has made gains in personal and district improvements. Mike has, done a great job in bringing the district together. And that's pretty much what he has. The rest are learning goals and, you know, things that we haven't really covered. So maybe I'll read this one here. Instructional leadership curriculum. He has you as proficient, instruction, proficient, assessment, proficient, evaluation, needs improvement. And the evaluation ensures that timely supervision and evaluation of all staff in alignment with state regulations and provisions. So it's pretty much you evaluating your staff and, you know, so. Data-informed decision-making. And that's proficient. And overall rating for leadership, he gave you proficient. All right, so these other ones, yeah, we haven't really covered, so. Yeah, I'm going to pass the mic to, who's up next, anybody? Mr. Fisher, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I haven't used my iPad today, so I'm at 3%, and I don't have a paper copy, so if I just stop talking, it seems like I'm winging it. Forgive me. I just want to echo what the chairman said, too. I think you're the only person in town who gets evaluated in public on TV. And obviously everyone needs to be evaluated. I do evaluations, I receive evaluations, but not in public, so just wanted to single out for that. And just, I know Mr. Hatch and I were here last term as well. You stepped into this position at a time when school committee couldn't really, comment on a lot of things, and you really just, took the baton and you ran with it. So I just want to thank you for that, which informs my evaluation here. So at 3%. So as the chair said, for the overall performance, we had as options unsatisfactory, needs improvement, proficient, and exemplary, and then it goes through various subfacets of institutional leadership, management and operations, family and community engagement, and professional culture. So overall, and hopefully my handwriting's a little bit better than Chairman Serino's. As I went through, primarily I gave you proficients in all areas except family and community engagement, where I gave you an exemplary, because I feel like the level of communication to families has really improved. Like in terms of that, also to the school committee, I can tell you, I hear from you all the time. Any little thing that's happening, you want to both make sure we know it, but also make sure we know it ahead of time so that it doesn't create like confusion or any type of situation. So I feel really informed by you, so I thank you for that. Just as I go through this here, so for, well, that's the end of the summary. So for institutional leadership, I gave an overall proficient down the line. My note is that Superintendent Hashem, during his tenure, has prioritized curriculum instruction and assessment, and is focused on maintaining and not abandoning efforts the district has made towards adopting and maintaining curriculum and ensuring it's taught consistently. So obviously very important. For management and operations, I gave an overall proficient, but I gave for law, ethics, and policies, I gave an exemplary. And noted Superintendent Hashem has led the district by example, has shown and embraced a strong ethical framework, and has shown a commitment to not, I don't know what I meant there. I will find out for you, but to treat all parties fairly. I will print these next year. For family and community engagement, I gave an overall exemplary. The superintendent has made communication with all staff, families, and the school committee a priority during his tenure. I found him as someone who goes out of his way to make sure that no lines are crossed, to prevent confusion and get ahead of concerns, and I applaud his efforts. For professional culture, I gave an overall proficient. I applaud the superintendent's efforts to improve the culture within the district, which is obviously very important. And sometimes through force of will and force of personality, and that's what we know is to be something about the job. Sometimes you can try and do something that may not work, but sometimes if you put your own personality on the line, it will get done. And then overall, with 2% remaining, I gave an overall proficient. I appreciate the efforts of the superintendent to embrace and maintain new curriculum, not abandon the commitment for the success of the enrichment program specifically, which I know you are very much behind, which has impacted student life at all schools. He brings an ethical and upbeat approach to improving culture, and in additions to the district during his tenure have brought many positives. His style of communication to all stakeholders is appreciated and welcome. I appreciate his leadership. So just thank you for what you've done so far. It hasn't been difficult, like the chair said, and many times you're pulling everything on. If I had any constructive feedback, it would probably be the good kind of constructive feedback, which is you pull yourself, staff things out or the nature. But thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Thank you.
Ms. Master-Cole?
Sure. Hi. So I just want to take this time to explain to Mr. Hashem, the staff, and the community that evaluations can oftentimes come across as negative criticism. I do not view any part of this evaluation as being negative. If anything, it has given me the opportunity as a school committee member to learn the ins and outs of what public education means and how going forward we work as a team. We've had a lot of changes in the Saugus public school system within the last 5 years, some which has been uncharted territory that we've had to navigate on a whim. DESE gives us an evaluation to fill out. A committee that's supposed to be focused on policies and procedures and hiring and firing a superintendent somehow revolves around much, much more. Instructional leadership, management and operation, family and community engagement, and professional culture are the criteria we evaluate the superintendent on. The school committee delves into much more than just policies and procedures. This is my first year on, and by doing this evaluation, it has made me realize what I should be holding not only Mr. Hashem accountable for, but myself as well. Curriculum. We have great programs and great staff, but as a school committee member, I would like to see the results of the curriculum we have purchased and invested in. This is not to fall on you as the superintendent alone, certainly. As we know, budget requests are constant and better approved with concrete evidence. I am speaking for only me in this setting, in that it's hard for me to fight a good fight when I have limited information. Going forward, I would like to have meetings in which the principals, superintendent, and some school committee members sit down to ensure that this is being followed. For example, when a student is having a hard time, how are we helping them? Are we helping them? Do we have the resources to help them? And if so, we need to discuss this in more detail. If discussed on a more regular basis, the task is easier to carry out. I've listened to parents and have had many emails regarding certain issues. Mr. Hashem, you have always been super attentive when any parent has reached out to me and needed to speak with you, as well as with me. Fiscal Systems develops a budget that supports the district's vision, mission, and goals. I think your requests in the budget are completely reasonable and do not go outside of the vision for Saugus. Although, as I stated previously, we need to meet on a more regular basis to provide concrete evidence when the budget season comes around. Family and communication. Community engagement. The communication with the newsletters has been absolutely wonderful and helped with all that goes on in the schools. One small request is that could we use the middle school, high school board for more messages, like posting us when there's a school committee meeting, open houses, or even when a drama play is happening. We also give out surveys to parents and guardians. We get the results, but then we don't follow up in telling the community how we are working on it. For example, the increase in vaping, bullying, or even the much talk of how we are keeping these kids safe in our Saugus public schools. I have parents email me often and ask why the PTO is paying for things like Kleenex and paper towels. We have to work on building a better rapport with them as well. I'm confident that by working together, we can achieve a clearer understanding and better results. I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you, Mr. Hashem, and I do believe going forward we can accomplish many great things. Thank you for all you do for this community. I did not do the I did not, because I personally didn't feel like, I sat down for 3.5 hours and felt like this was not fair for me to, obviously, needs improvement is some of how I feel. Do I feel that you're proficient in the communication and stuff? Absolutely. Do I think anything is exemplary? No, but that's not a direct criticism to you. We wouldn't be in this stage of asking for this and asking for that and doing this if we were exemplary. So that's just kind of how I feel. And again, it's nothing directly towards you. It has also made me feel like going forward, I need to ask more from you so we can collaborate better together. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Basher-Cole. Mr. Hatch?
Good evening, thank you. So I also feel the same way that most everybody else has up here. First of all, we did not, as a committee, set a time out and work on specific goals for Mr. Hashem. So I don't think it's fair to judge him on goals that we didn't give him any on. But I do want to speak about Mr. Hashem's overall performance. I too, like most of the committee, I didn't give Mr. Hashem anything under a proficient, and I have probably more exemplaries than even Mr. Fisher. I do want to point out, though, that I think that it's very difficult to judge Mr. Hashem's performance in this way because of the way that he came into the district. We sought Mr. Hashem out. Our district was at a point when he entered into the district where there were teachers every single day looking for other jobs. Students were uneasy in the school, some students didn't even feel safe to be here. The climate and culture when you walked into the buildings were palpable and negative. You segue to today, and it's completely different. The climate and culture in less than 2 years at the Middle High Complex is, in my opinion, 180 degrees different than it was. When you come in to this building and you see the administrators collaborating, smiling, working as a team, it says something. The district was in a very, very tough place, and Mr. Hashem, you working on culture, listening to people, your communication skills changed that vibe and that feeling almost overnight. And I at one point feared how many teachers we were going to lose in September because of the atmosphere and because of the culture. That was completely changed, and I don't think that we've given you enough credit for dealing with that crisis, as I'll call it a crisis. Someone mentioned earlier, if you look at from where we are today to yesterday, just alone in the school year today, if you look at the amount of teacher absences this year compared to last, night and day. All of these are data points that we need to take into account as to where we were and where we are today. And I really feel that your team approach, your communication, your calming affect, and your steadfast support of your staff, your administrators, and the new curriculum that has been put in is a part of all of that. So I could go through bullet point by bullet point if you want. I don't think I need to. Nothing is below a proficient. There are many exemplaries, but I do want to give you more credit for stabilizing this district when there was a very, very tough time. And you did that almost overnight. And again, I challenge anybody to say that the culture and the atmosphere is not 180% better than it was. So I want to thank you for walking into a very difficult situation. I want to thank you for stabilizing our school community. And I want to thank you most of all for celebrating our wins and making our students part of this meeting almost every week. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Hatch. So, yeah, I kind of feel pretty much the same way everybody's talked about. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like, before I got back on the committee, I thought you were a good gap guy, but I was on the fence about you being, the full-time guy here, because, not because of you personally, but because you've come through the system, you went to high school here, you came through the system, you formed deep friendships with a lot of people, deep bonds with a lot of people. So it's hard to all of a sudden be in charge of people and try to hold them accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. And I got to tell you, you really changed my mind. I see that you made some big moves that no other, we've been around for a while, no other superintendent even came close to making these kind of moves. And you did it knowing that it's what's best for the district, not anything personal or anything like that. And you can really see that the new hires that you've brought in, even just your own administrative assistant, they've been unbelievable. They've been like, the kind of people that you would look at a textbook and say, okay, this is what I want. So, and like Mr. Hatch said, the people that you've brought in have made some huge strides in changing the culture. I see it almost daily at the high school. Last year before, it was kind of, you get in there and it's, kids are walking the hall, there's 800 kids in the bathroom, no one's going to class. You don't see that don't get me wrong, there's still a few kids that are willing to, push the envelope, but you don't see that as much anymore. And as Ms. Mastercola said, and Mr. Hatch, the kids feel a lot safer, because of that, because there's not kids hanging out in the bathroom vaping and not going to class. So having that safe environment, that's something that your leadership has brought. Another thing that I think that kind of goes unnoticed is definitely the curriculum, like Mr. Hatch was saying. We had curriculum that's been in place for 2-3 years now, but we didn't have all the staff on board. We had people that weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, because whether they didn't believe in it or whether the case may be. And I kind of feel like that was mostly because there was no backing for the directors. There was no backing for the directors, there was no backing for the coaches, so there was no repercussions for not doing the right thing. So I think that you don't micromanage, but you support the directors, and it's a lot easier for them to get it done with the teachers now. And a lot of the teachers are on board now. I think probably 90%. And believe me, a lot of that credit goes to the directors. And again, I'm not, giving you 100% credit on this, but even with the SPED, we had a superintendent that tried to decimate SPED. And really, it just almost ruined us. It financially ruined the district. You come in, we got some more things in place, and you're working with the directors, Ms. Trainer, and now we're one of the only districts in the state that are fully compliant with DESI for all the services, and that's unbelievable. We've never had that before, So I feel like the teamwork on that really made the difference. And like Mr. Hatch said, I see people coming back to work again. I don't see a lot of sick days. I know they're way down from last year. I talked to some of the, the assistants and teachers, and everybody's happy with the culture right now and how it's going. Well, maybe not everybody, because, you can't talk to everybody. But, yeah, it's just, so on leadership, yeah, I'm going to say that you can't say you're exemplary, because then there'd be no room for improvement. But you know what? You're pretty damn close. So I'm going to give you a pretty damn close, all right? Communications. We all say the same thing here. I see some unbelievable communication coming from here. And when it's not coming from certain other places, you make sure that it does, And as Ms. Mastercola said, there's some parents, parents like communication, and if they have an issue, they can come see you, they can talk to you. You're very approachable. You don't have a calendar on your door that says, nope. You're very approachable, and you listen, too. You don't just nod your head and go, yeah, okay, we'll try to get to that, You can't help everybody, but at least you definitely don't fluff them off, and you try. So communication, I'm definitely going to give you a proficient, or pretty damn close to the other one, okay? Education. As far as that goes, like I said, we're not educators, we know that. But we do have things that are in place, curriculums and whatnot, and that goes back to the leadership part there. I think that you're doing an unbelievable job at that, and I really feel like the curriculum director just needed some support, not a push, but support, and so it's a lot easier to work in that environment, and I think that you've done a great job with that. Overall, we've had, we've counted this before, there was 8 superintendents in 6 years or something. It was something crazy. We've never had stability at the superintendent spot. And again, wasn't a big fan originally, but I'm telling you right now, Mike, Mr. Hashem, I think you've done really a truly unbelievable job coming into a super tough situation. Instead of narrowing down on 2 or 3 things, you kind of had your hands everywhere, and now we're to the point where we can concentrate on 2 or 3 things and make some strides. So I'm going to give you another proficient on that. The only thing that I'm going to give you a knock on that you really need some improvement is it's the sweater vest. Yeah, you're going to need some work with that.
I specifically wore it today. For you.
Yeah, it's going to need a little bit of work, but
I know you loved them.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think Vinny's the only one that followed the evaluation thing, right? But yeah, we're going to actually, as a committee, we'll set you some goals.
Yep.
But we got to figure out the time to do that one, because it's not like we can just do it now and then meet them up in November again, or before November. So I think we're going to try to just keep rowing in the right direction right now with the district goals. But again, I think you're doing a great job, and I'm really happy to have you. So thank you very much.
Can I just add one thing, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
Completely off this because my iPad died, but usually, I don't know about everyone else up here, usually you get messages from parents around 6:30 at night, you're sitting down to dinner, and someone, can I just talk to you about something, and there's the rest of your night, and you're like,
Keep them all?
George Costanza hiding under the desk after a while. I got a message one night from one person, then someone else messaged me, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, Mr. Hasham's on a bike? What happened? And it was when you put out the newsletter
Oh, yeah.
and you wrote the story about how you're trying to ride up the hill and
Yep.
you're
Oh, yeah.
going back down and people
Yeah,
are waving
yeah,
at you
yeah.
and laughing at you and everything. And I don't know what it was about that, but it was the first time, it was a tough time for the district and everything, and everyone was just loved that, and it put everyone in a good mood, and it was relatable, like you said, and it was something where people just felt good about it, and from then, every time I see you riding around town on your bike, it just reaffirms that. But I just wanted to point that out. That is the littlest thing that you did, but it made such a difference to just how people perceive things, and good stuff.
Yeah, and I do want to point out one more thing. I mean, we're still missing some spots, some key spots in the schools, that if we have those spots, you know, things will be going in a really right direction then. I think we're moving in that direction. We definitely are. But I think once we get those spots filled, it's going to be, we're going to see something that we haven't seen in quite a while here. So I'm excited by that.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you, sir. All right. Anybody else have anything they want to add before we move on? All right. So next we have, I don't see that thing on here.
It's the discussion related to number 3.
Okay, I got you, yeah. So we have the discussion related to the superintendent participating in the SEA negotiations. So I'll read the motion, and then I'll need a motion to approve. So we got to approve or deny the motion. I do like the whereas in here. So the motion is, whereas the superintendent of the schools has made full disclosure that his spouse is a member of the Saugus Teachers Association and has financial interest in the contract between the Saugus School Committee and the Saugus Teachers Association. And whereas the school committee has determined that the superintendent interest is not so substantial as to be deemed likely to affect the integrity of the services which the school committee may expect from the superintendent. And whereas the school committee approves the superintendent's participation in collective bargaining and with the Teachers Association pursuant to GL Chapter 268A, Section 19B.
That was B.
B. Yeah, not A, B.
Motion to approve.
Chair seconds. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, sir.
knowing how the negotiations work and after this evaluation, motion is mostly about character and integrity. I could not feel more strongly that Mr. Hashem is an exemplary example of both of those things, and I don't think that there should be a problem.
As the other member of the negotiating team who has worked on these for a while, I absolutely concur with Mr. Hatch.
Okay, nothing else? And Ms. McBride, we do roll call?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hatch?
Yes.
Mrs. Mastercola? Yes. Mr. Richards?
Yes. All right, motion carries 4-0. Okay, next we have, we're going to recess to executive session for the purpose of negotiations and not to return to open session. Attending will be the superintendent, Mr. Fisher, Ms. Mastercola, Mr. Hatch, Mr. Whitridge, and Ms. McBride. Is Ms. Andrews in this one?
No, she doesn't need to be in that
Okay,
one. No.
sorry.
Motion to approve.
Chair seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
We gotta do
actually, we
roll.
don't get a roll call, I'm sorry. Ms. McBride?
Mr. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Hatch?
Yes.
Mrs. Mastercola? Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you all for coming. Oh, excuse me. Thank you both for coming. And we'll see you next time.
Oh, Tommy.